Welcome back to another episode of Just My Baby Daddy podcast. It's your boy AJ.
It's the bougie baby daddy Eli.
And what we got today, everyone accuses us of being, biased. All we have is Kappa guests. Right? But we changed it up today. And we got a Q in the building today. We got Mr. Danny Rag on the podcast today. What's going on, man?
What's happening, man? How y'all brothers doing?
We good, man. Appreciate you taking the time out to talk with us today, man.
Definitely.
So
yeah, I had to be on here, man.
Yeah, look, the people been getting on us. People, yeah, man. They give us all kind of the business when we was like, yeah, Kappa this, Kappa that. But you know what? It's on you to represent for them the other side of 1911.
Oh man, you already know what type of time we on.
We'll see.
the best side of 1911.
Oh, all right. Look, now you a guest now, but we ain't gonna let too much of that slide.
So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna start off, but get you started. The first question we ask everybody is, what does it mean to you to be a father?
Man, it means a lot. Something I prayed about, from a child, growing up. You always wanted some kids of your own, a legacy that you built from a child to where you at now, from whatever age you had your child. Right. This is something that just didn't happen overnight. Like every man wants a son, every woman wants a daughter, somebody to follow in their footsteps. So for me to be a father of two beautiful children, man, it's words can't even explain it. You know what I'm saying? Like I get up every day and be excited, overjoyed, just to like, oh, I'm alive. Let me call them real quick. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I just love every second, every moment of it. Even though I don't get a chance to see my kids every day, 24/7, due to me being on the road all the time. But when we get together, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like best friends, man. It's a beautiful thing, man, being a father, man. I love it.
Okay.
I wouldn't trade it in for the world. Yeah.
Now, you said something interesting that I don't personally hear a lot of guys say. Yeah, we always hear guys as they get older talking about, yeah, man, I got to have my little man to keep the name going and, different aspects like that. But it's rare that I hear a man say, I wanted kids from a young age. I haven't personally heard that too often. But what was it about kids being, at a younger age for you that made you say, you know what, I got to have me some little rugrats?
Man, because I didn't grow up with neither one of my biological parents. So for me, it started at the age of 8 when I found out that, I was an adopted child. So that umbilical cord was never there for me with biological parents, trying to get true love, but my parents who raised me, I love them to death, you know what I'm saying? But it was that notion there for me, like, look, when I have my son, I'm going to be there for him 24/7. When I have my daughter, I'm going to be in there like 24/7. So every moment that I live, like good or bad, whatever I was doing, I always thought about them in the back of my mind, like, I got to keep living. You know what I mean? I know I'm going out here cutting corners, doing this bad or doing this, but I got to make it home to them. So it was always that for me, like just wanting to be there and to be that provider for someone else that what I didn't truly have, you know what I mean, in the biological sense.
Wow. I mean, I can get that, Eli, because like piggybacking off of that, like you said, you haven't heard that. Well, man, I wanted kids since I was about maybe 9, 10 years old. When I even I would say by the time I was in like 3rd, 4th grade, when me and my mother really fell out, because my
in
my
3rd or 4th grade, y'all really fell out.
Yeah.
Boy, you were bad from the beginning.
like you gotta think, like I was before I even got to kindergarten, my father died, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like I never had a dad. So I always wanted to, because I never had one, I always made up in my mind. Now, like I said, he could have been fucked up. Who knows how it could have been, but in my mind, it's the most amazing thing in the world, and I would want to be that for somebody else. So I can get that and understand that.
No, that's dope. Because I was the complete opposite. Personally, I guess, I had parents and I had this or whatever, but I think my personality, I was so selfish. Ooh, that's a
What
good
made
question.
us? What made me want to be a great father? Uh, the fact that I didn't have one.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want. I wouldn't want somebody else to go through what I went through. You know what I mean? And it's something that I said if I had the opportunity to do, you know what I mean, I would do it, and I do it to the best of my ability. Now I don't do it the way that I had planned. We're gonna live in a house. It's gonna be Christmas, me, you, mom. We gonna be in the family Christmas tree. Ain't none of that shit about to happen at all. That shit been sailed. But I can still be a great dad. Yeah.
Mm.
Nah, no, because I mean, if I wanted to, I could use that as an excuse because I never had a father. I didn't know how to be one, so I wasn't there. You know what I mean? So that's a cop out that you hear all the time. Like, I don't know how to be a dad. I didn't have one. Well,
Mm.
nigga, it's nature. You know what I mean? I mean, your body didn't know. Like, a woman's body doesn't know how to breastfeed until it has to. Like, nature should take over at some point. You know what I mean? So you just decide to run out on your responsibilities. That's what you decide to do.
Hold on. Now I can't. You saying is nature to make you want to be a great father?
No, I mean, if you decide not to be a father, if you decide not to be there for something that you created, yeah, you should be there.
Okay.
Naturally, a part of you is going to
Mm-hmm.
want to be there.
Okay. I see what you're saying. I was kind of confused because the way I look at it is a little bit different. I was like, it's not it something that's natural. I don't think takes as much work as being a great father or great anything. To be honest with you, because it's so much work that actually has to go into perfecting something that you can't perfect. You can't perfect being a father. You can't perfect being a great significant other or a spouse. It takes effort. It takes work. It takes humility. It takes appetite for digestion of information, and it takes the ability to adapt to failure. Because great fathers fail, but you fail forward. When you were asking that question about what made us want to be fathers, okay, well, my take is a little different. My take is I wanted to be a great father based off of all the things that I seen the other, like my biological father, the things that he did. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be there. I wanted to be active. I wanted to be present. Or, my stepfather. I learned a lot of things from him because he was with me during my formative years. But there's aspects of his personality and different things like that I wanted to improve upon. But also, when I was talking earlier, I was saying that um being a father early was not in my cards because I was so self-absorbed and so selfish. And
Mm.
that my daughter, when I as my first child, she humbled me, and I changed my whole personality and not my whole personality, but my whole view of how I look at women, how I look at other people, how I look at other people outside of myself. Because to be honest with you, I've always been a naturally cold-hearted person until I had my daughter.
Mm.
And so she's what helped develop me into a more caring and understanding and patient person. Now, it's not always perfect, but that goes to the natural thing. It's always work. And so I meet a lot of dudes and talk to a lot of guys that don't understand that. They think it's a book. There's not a book for me or that I know of that teaches you how to be the perfect man or the
Nope.
perfect father, because every child is different. So what works for one is not going to work for the other. So you got to be quick on your feet. And so I always wonder, like for instance, if I ask you, okay, well, how did you learn to be a father? How do you answer that?
Trial and error. I just learned, from like you say, every generation before me, you would take a little bit from your uncles, take a little bit from your father, or take a little bit from a big brother or big cousin who you saw before you, and say, okay, how can I make this better? Whatever he's doing, and that I love that they're doing as fathers. How can I do this, but do it to a higher standard and a higher level? You know, I know growing up for me, it was kind of like, damn, man, I always used to want, like, Jordans in the 90s was our shit. Ah, man, I want the Jordans. I see all the kids at school, man, getting the fresh new Jordans. I don't want to be the one having to catch somebody coming outside the back, try to beat them up, try to take your shoes tight, you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
trying to set somebody up, trying to get the shoes. So I
Word.
said, when it's my turn to come through, whatever that generation that my kids is coming through, whatever they love, I know how this culture thing is. Let me be prepared financially enough to bless them. See what I'm saying? I don't want them to be like, man, because sometimes it's not all about the materialistic things. But we know
Right.
this generation, that's the way that they heart. You know what I mean? So I always wanted to be prepared just to know that I had whatever they needed. You know what I'm saying? So trial and error would really help me. Like you said, ain't no man perfect.
Yeah.
So it's like I done had some times where I made some bad mistakes. I done had some times where I made, the right choices.
Right.
But I had to learn through those life lessons. I call them L's, but those are life lessons that we learn. It ain't like you just took no L in life. It's like it's a learning lesson. You learn, like I said, I've learned from watching my cousin with his dad, like what they went through. You know what I mean? And watching my uncle over here with his two kids, who's not even his kids, it's some kids that he inherited through another relationship. So you see how each man deals with love in different situations. Love is spread different when it comes to us as individuals, as me.
Yeah.
You know what
True.
I mean? Like, you can love your child a different way than what I love my child. You know what I mean? And not saying that you don't love your child, but some people call love materialistic shit. Like, I'm gonna
Yep.
buy you a bunch of stuff, and that's just how I'm gonna show you love. Mine is more of time.
Yeah.
I want to be in your presence. I want to hug on you. I want to love on you. I want to let you know every morning that you get up, you love, right? Oh, every time we get off that phone, oh man, I love you, son. Oh, I love you. Every time. No, I don't care if we just got off the phone. You just called me back because we lost service or something. Oh no, I love you, right?
Mm.
Because that's something that I always didn't get when I was growing up. You know what I mean? So I said it's trial and error. Something that you didn't get, you always want to. Because we were just once in these kids' shoes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
kind of, okay, what did you want growing up as an individual? They might want that same because it's just uh like the Ku Klux Klan. You ain't just born into the world just being a part of the Ku Klux Klan. That shit was taught to you.
Oh, okay. I didn't know where you were going
Yeah.
with
You see what
that.
I'm saying? It's the teaching. That just you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like
Yeah.
with our kids. Whatever you teach your kids, that's what they're gonna pretty much gonna do. They could grow up and be like, man, I don't like all white folk, cause my dad don't like all white people. That's something that's taught. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's a teaching. So it's whatever you got on you that you teaching your kids on how to love, on how to go through life. My son do any and everything I do. And some of the stuff I don't like, but I gotta realize, on social media, just like I'm on social media. You know what I'm saying? I be like, damn man, he done caught me smoking weed, so I'm seeing him over here. You know what I'm saying? Like posting some crazy stuff. I'm like, God knows, man, I gotta tighten up. I gotta take him out of my close friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it just
That's crazy.
that what right there that humbles me enough to say, you know what, yo D, tighten up because he's watching. Tighten up, Danny, because Jackson is watching your every move. Whatever you do, he's gonna do it. Like half of my shoe collection gone. We wear the same size now, so he comes
Oh yeah,
in.
you in trouble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like them J's. I like them ones. I already know what it is. You just said you like them. That means you're gonna take them. Man, you don't need to ask me. You're gonna take them. You know what I mean? But I love that for the simple fact, even like sometimes I get frustrated even when I walk in, he might be playing a video game. I'm like, God damn, he on the video game again? Fortnite again? Shit. Like, you know what I mean? You gonna keep playing Fortnite, but I'd rather have you here in the comfort of the home than in the streets. amongst
Right.
all the turmoil that's going on. So sometimes I trial and error. I had to learn to humble myself because it was different from when we grew up in the 90s to what we're raising our kids now in these mid 2000s. We're not even in 2010 no more. You know what I mean? We in 2022. That means we in the 2020s now. You know what I'm saying? Like we so many people keep screaming 90s, 90s, 90s. Like, man, we've been past them shits. You know
Yeah,
what I
it's
mean?
almost 30 years ago.
2010, 2020 now, you know what I mean? 20 years in this thing. Really 22, but still, when you mentally thinking, like, yo, we can't keep trying to, oh, I did this when we grew up, or I did this. Because that's how, in a certain sense, how our parents used to treat us, too.
Yep,
Oh,
that's
man, you
true.
know what I mean? We used to work in the fields. We used to do this. Man, nobody working in no field. No, nigga. Nobody finna apply no tobacco, bro. Not in this heat. What? This heat?
Hey, that he brutal.
You want me to go out and apply some tobacco? Come on, man. The first thing a kid goes, where my Instagram?
So wait,
I got you, man. So,
with that being the case, then with that being the case for you, then who would you say was your biggest inspiration when it comes to being a father?
I honestly would say my father, but I would also say I had 4 men at my church growing up that were kind of like father figures, and they always made sure like if they kids had, everybody else child had. So I started learning stuff from them on how they move. Okay, like I like how Mr. Earl is moving. I like how Mr. Clark was moving over here. I like how he takes care of my homeboys and his sisters and them. I like how he goes and he works hard every day. You know what I mean? But like I'm saying, stuff has changed, bro. You know what I mean? So, but growing up, I like how they structured their households. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like think now, like how many people really sit at the dinner table and eat as a family?
True.
You know what I mean? Like everything has changed. Like I tell my people, gas has changed. Shit, gas ain't 79 and 89 cents when y'all was coming through. Shit, the gas a Happy Meal now. It's like $4
For
change.
sure.
You know what I mean? Like, so we have to learn. Like we have to adapt to today's society and what these children love now. This new age bracket. Oh man, it's different, bro. Like I used to be on video games, but I want on video games like this. Like, bro, you get paid to play video
Yep.
games now?
My son just
Yep.
filled out his second grade back to school what you want to do list. That joker said he wanted to be a gamer for a career.
Bruh.
So
They got classes and
that you
stuff to
hit
take
that
on
right on the
campus. They
head.
got scholarships. They got a gaming
Word.
scholarship at Fayetteville State University right now. I'm like, what? You mean I go
Boy,
to
I know
school
it.
to see her to play games?
That's what I'm about to say. Boy, hey, back in the day, everybody would have applied for that scholarship.
But
And weed is legal too.
Oh, come on.
but I'm gonna tell you where it probably, in a sense, this was probably before the pandemic. But that pandemic brought a lot of this stuff on. Like, what you keeping us stashed off at the houses where we can't go anywhere. You can't leave your homes. So people started making businesses from home. Because if you're a hustler, if the hustle's in you, you always gonna find a way to make some type of finance. You know what I
For
mean? If you
sure.
cutting grass, to you cleaning houses, to whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like
Clown
I done seen
tobacco.
people, turn their garage into a once office space that they had somewhere they was paying rent. Now they got it in their garage. It was like, man, the whole time you thinking like, I really didn't need to rent the space. I got a whole garage here. I could, you know what I mean? So it's like
Yep.
so many creative minds are coming up. So to see how kids now have gone from being tucked away in the homes for 2 years to saying, look, we're gonna pay you now to play these video games. I'm gonna give you a check. You know what I mean? To play $8 million to be exact. I read the other day a kid made $8 million playing Madden. And I was like, oh my God, I'm finna go sit down and I play
That's more than some
football.
of the
I'm finna
players.
go sit down and get good. Like, this is crazy. I know the terminology of the game. I'm gonna control the clock. Like,
Yeah. So you speak a lot about humility, the trial and error, and stuff like that, as far as being a father and kind of navigating your way through the whole process.
yeah.
But what is something about you that was a fault that you had to improve upon to make you more effective?
Communication.
Mm.
Communication for me was I've always been one of the ones who like knew everybody, but just still didn't know how to communicate with the right ones. You know, like the people that matter the most in your life. I'm still to this day still working on it. My communication level. You know, like needing to call you more, needing to reach out more, needing to uplift you more. You know what I mean? If you can do it to the whole world, you got to be able to do it to your closest
That's true.
net. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So for me, that was one of my biggest faults that I've been trying to improve because no man is perfect. But yeah, communication, man, because like I could call my kid 24/7 and then sometimes they'll call me and I'll be like, oh man, I gotta call them back. It shouldn't be to that point where I gotta, yeah, I know we get senile here every now and then, you know what I mean? Everybody gets busy, but communication has to be,
Yeah.
is key. Has to be better because that's what they need from you.
Right.
Sometimes person just need, hey man, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing all right. All right, cool, man. Not knowing before that phone call, they probably had some mental stuff going on in their head. But just by you
Mm-hmm.
calling and reaching out, they ease the moment down. So, you know, me just really working on my better communication skills.
Oh wow.
That's odd that you would say that, especially for what you do for a living.
Exactly. You know what I mean? But like I say, man, we all have our faults. We all go through certain things. And I say that's one of mine. One of mine that I've definitely been trying to work on.
And for people who don't know, what do you do for a living?
Man, I do stand up. Also, I'm in the acting. I'm an actor. Uh, I've been living in Los Angeles for the past 8 years. Uh, in the process of transitioning and coming back this way to North Carolina, 'cause I want to be back on this end so bad, due to what we're talking about now with my kids. My son finna go into high school,
Right.
so
Right.
this is gonna be his first year in high school. So I'm like, man, I want to be back on this end so bad. He playing football. Of course, AJ, you know how that go. You know what I mean? Like this football thing, like it means the world to him. Even though I know my career is still growing and still blossoming, I can always take that step back because you didn't ask to be here. So now that you're here, I got to guide you. I got to lead you. I got to direct you in the right path. I got to protect you. I got to make sure that every move that you're making is a solid move. So, yeah, bro, that's what I do, man. I'm a comic. I'm an actor. Uh, I've been touring since January with Afion. Uh, man, probably open up for some of the world's biggest comic. So, here coming in the next, I want to say the next year, we've been working on trying to do my first stand-up special. So I've been
Oh,
working on
dope.
that.
Dope.
Yeah.
So to piggyback off of that, how does that work? How did you feel initially when you first made that move and said, I need to do this for my career? Being here is not going to cut it. I got to move. How was that transition? And because people don't really understand, everyone talks about the pressures and the feeling of a single mom, but that pressure of a dad when you actually move away from your children, like people just see the glitz and they be like, oh, he's living it
Man,
up. But at the same time, you go home and you like, damn, where are my kids? You know what I mean? Just speak on that.
man, you might have asked maybe the $1,000,000 question. You asked a question that I've always been wanting to give the answer to, and wow, that's how God works. Man, it's rough. When I first moved to LA, November the 1st, 2015, I was going through a separation at the time. Ended up going through the divorce. December, signed my divorce paperwork. And I felt like for me, I needed to branch myself away from North Carolina because North Carolina at the time wasn't really popping for entertainment when it came to my side of things like
Right.
comedy and acting. You know, it was good for like singers. You know, you had the Fantasias, the Anthony Hamiltons, and J. Cole's at the moments, but the baby hadn't really popped at the time. And I felt like
Mm-hmm.
with the baby popping in Charlotte, it brought a lot of that entertainment up. But back to your question, it was rough for me because I was so used to being with them every day, 24 hours a day. I was
Yeah.
so, okay, the only time we didn't see you was when you was at school. And I would be the one picking you up from school. So when I picked you up from school, we finna go cut up. We finna get some snacks. We finna hit whatever little store you want to. We're gonna go buy a little Dollar Tree. I was gonna get you a little dollar toy. You know what I mean? That was like an everyday thing because I knew all I needed was $2. You know what I mean? 2 kids, we good. So it was like I knew my budget. I was like, yeah, whatever. Just trying to take what little we had but make fun of it. You know what I'm saying? Make the best of the moment. But it was tough. Like I've had nights where like I stayed up and just cried, or I've had nights where it was like mentally got disturbed, to be real with you. You know what I'm saying? If we keep it in a buck, ain't no need of lying. You know what I mean? Like I had them nights where it was like, yo, finna jump off the Santa Monica Pier real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I had to realize, like, man, my kids need me. I know I'm going through all these. It was rough not being around them. You know what I'm saying? Like when you go from, like I say, from having something that you love every day and it's stripped away from you, you're gonna react in a certain type of way that you never reacted before.
Right.
So it was kind of like unexplainable. Like hell, I didn't know I was gonna do all this shit. I didn't know I was gonna cut up and act this way. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know my kids weren't gonna be around me 24/7. I didn't put this into the playbook. You know what I'm saying? Like didn't know this was gonna happen. So it was kind of how the old folks say. You know what I mean? A monkey wrench was thrown at me. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know which way to move, bro. So and I got stuck for a long time. And one thing you said was so many people saw me. Oh, you at the Oscars or you at the Grammys with Russell Simmons and you with all this shit, not knowing like mentally, like nigga, I'm not even here. You know what I mean? Like I ain't seeing my kids. Like bro, I don't give a fuck about none of this.
Right.
Where my kids at? You know what I'm saying? Like that's what type of energy I was on. But I had to realize that yo, D, calm down. Everybody doesn't know. Calm down. Relax. And then when like the cameras go down, I'm back like, man, where my kids at, man? Like, man, she playing with me, man. Like, so I had to realize, like, yo, calm yourself down, get yourself together, pray about this thing, seek God again, get back close, get back in that word, because you can make one wrong move and all this could be over. You know what I mean? 'Cause like I said, for me, it was just tough.
Quick.
Like I said, like if I didn't have that connection with my kids, oh man, that move would have been easy. I'd have been having a good time, but most of my days in LA, I really be like on some missing my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like so, like that was a tough moment. Just being bi-coastal at first, you know, then coming home and only having to see them at certain times. Like I said, because I went through that divorce. You know, when you go through a bad separation divorce, that takes a toll on your kids because that makes them look at both parents in a different eye. You know what I mean? I wasn't a parent that was, I'm finna trash mouth my ex-wife and my baby mama. I ain't finna do all that because I ain't got time for that. Because the time that I do got, I'm trying to give it all to you. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't finna waste no time talking about your mama. I ain't finna waste no time talking about what the hell we done went through. It is what it is. But the time that we do got, we finna spend it. And we finna spend it to the best of what God has for us to spend it. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't care like, bro, I done flew home one time, right? I done flew home from LA to Charlotte. Well, I flew in the RDU, found the cheap ticket, got the RDU. One of the homies come scoop me. We go from Raleigh and we get all the way to Charlotte, get the D-High house. D-High picked me up. Once he got out of work from his crib, he take me all the way over to the crib so that I can see my kids. And I only spent like 2 hours with them. But I spent $560 something on a one-way ticket just to get here because I knew my little man was like, yo, Dad, like I got football tryouts tomorrow.
Oh wow.
Nigga, we talking about football tryouts. Nigga, we ain't talking about no game. We ain't talking about you playing in no all-star. We talking about you going your final year of middle school ball. You best believe I'm finna take this flight, bro.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
finna catch this flight. Cause you would, you know why? Cause you would have never told me. The reason you told me because you want me there. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So I'm finna be there for you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that's a powerful word. Like you got to
Right.
know them signs when your kids is talking to you. So I was like, yo, I'm like, man, Jack done told me twice already. Like, yeah, Dad, you know we got it coming up. Like football trials. I'm like, man, you done told me. So I tell my roommate out there in LA, I'm like, bro, I'm finna catch a flight, bro. He was like, why? What's up? He said the kid's good. I'm like, man, nah, Jack got you. And the first thing he did on everything, he was like, bro, we got to pray. So we prayed, and he was like. So my other roommate come home because we got a crib up in Woodland Hills. Cause one of my roommates is He plays on Doom Patrol. I don't know if y'all ever seen that show. It's on HBO Max. He's the black guy that got a little thing on his eye. Javan come in the house. Javan was like, if Jackson want you home, bro, you going home. So to keep it all the way transparent, I think I had like $300 on me. And bro gave me the rest of the money. He was like, let's get this ticket. If you're going to tell it, you got to tell it a buck. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yo, I would go to the scorch the earth for them kids. You feel me? Like, man, I'll go to the end, bro. Like, bro, I flew home, right? And out of, 19 kids showed up for their first, like, tryout practice. And only 3 dads was there.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? And shit. I'm pulling up, and my son see me. He take off from, like, cross the field, because we got a unique walk. Plus, you know what I mean? You can just tell it's me type.
Yeah.
He like, oh, that's my dad's. He take off across the field. Bro, no lie. I had like a teardrop just come out my eye. I was trying to like catch it before he got over. I was trying to catch. I was like, man, because it reminded me of like a lean on me moment. It reminded me of like one of the moments where, you know how Mr. Clark was? Mr. Clark was another one. Truth be told, that's one of my top movies, one of my favorite movies. Lean on Me. How Mr. Clark sold into them kids and how them kids took to them streets of New Jersey and walked down there to come get him up out of jail. And told the DA and told everybody, like, look, you don't know, like old girl said, you don't know Mr. Clark. Mr. Clark is like a father to some of us.
Nigga, we is old. We are quoting.
Lean on me out.
Lean on me.
Bro, that was my movie. Yo.
That shit 40 years old. You're right, though. Everybody love Mr. Clark.
Mr. Clark was like, you knew that he didn't take no shit. He put that foot on your neck. But he always had your best interest at heart. Like when he took Khadijah home. You know what I mean? Back to, like, what you mean? Khadijah's one of my favorite students. You know what I'm saying? Like, I done had Khadijah since she was in middle school, preschool. The other assistant principal, like, look, shut up. Mama ain't trying to hear about none of that middle school shit right now. You know, we trying to get her through high school. You know what I'm saying? But to see how he tapped in, not just to the daughter, but to the mama. Because the way to the child's life is through the parent. So if the parent is struggling, that kid is always going to be struggling. And one thing, that's how God works. One thing that's helped me, even being on this tour, Atheon has taught me a word called stability. Stability. If you're not stable, nothing in your life will work.
Wow.
Because you be going in circles all over. So that's one thing I've been trying to teach the kids is like, I got to get stable. In a sense, to once I get stable, everything in their life, man, it'll flow like the Jordan River. It'll flow so smooth, man. Stability is key for any father, for any parent, for any person. Period. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be stable to be for betterment of your child. You know what I mean? For the person who you brought into this world, man. You know what I mean? Because it ain't fair. Like, because everybody goes through it, but I done seen two recent, man, a couple of my homies where I be helping out and stuff like, man, like, bro, I don't know where my next $20 gonna come from. Hell, nigga, I understand, nigga, gas up. You know what I mean?
Word.
That little stash, that you once thought you once had, you've been pinching in the pack. Cause you need $10 here, extra 15 here a week, or extra $20 here. Just when you thought you had 2,000 saved up, like, nah, nigga, them gas prices came back around, boy. You know what I mean? Because I can remember, my truck used to be like, it was like 65, maybe almost $70 used to fill up. Now I'm at 120 to fill up.
144 this morning.
See what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like, bruh, I can remember when $20, bruh, I used to be the man at the pump. Like, I go in there and slap that shit on the counter. 20. Give me on 20 on 9. You go in there now, like, look, man.
You might not even get out of there.
Bruh, I'm going to put like 18 over here on 2. I got to get me something to drink. You know what I'm saying? I need a water.
Shit outside now.
No AC. Like,
you might need to run that AC. Yeah, you might need to run that AC.
You might die in that damn car.
Bruh, I'm gonna tell you.
But look, you spoke on something else too.
Talk to me.
That was kind of you spoke on D High, and that name was mentioned on our podcast earlier by Jada, another guest we had on the show, and we spoke to him about the importance of like a friend
Yeah.
circle, of having other fathers that you could talk to, that you can rely on, that nobody has the exact same experience, but that has the type of experience that relate to you. You know what I mean? Speak on that a
Man,
little bit.
faith of a friend and a friend, man. D High was my brother. He just really wasn't my friend, man. Like, we built the bond at Fayetteville State, man, that couldn't be broke. I met D High before I met Jada. And Jada and D High met each other before me and Jada met each other. You know, so we all had like this mutual that's when D High had a 4-door Chevy, all green, like Chevy man, it was like we used to call them the don'ts back in the day. And then I had my 70 Chevy Impala. We met off the strength of that. He pulled up to Seabrook one day, and I was over there at the brook. We got to talking, and we just connected. There was something about his spirit, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, bro, cool. You can tell, bro, vibes is like all. And I never forget. I ended up him and Nika had Malik, and then me and Skinner, we was living in Charlotte in 2010 with Jackson. We just said end up having married, had my daughter, and D-High used to always bring Malik, and I used to always bring my kids around. And it'd be to the sense of where, like I said, if I had it, his kids had it. And if he had it, my kids had it. I don't care if Jackson played a football game, Malik will be there. I don't care if Malik was doing something like, one time he had something like a musical recital or something. All of us came, we showed up. You know what I mean? It's like, if your kids is my kids. Darius would have done the same for me. God forbid if the roles were reversed, he would have done the same for me. He would have done the same for JD. He would have done the same for any of us. So having to be there for Mila and to be there for Malik, man, it's an honor of mine. You know what I'm saying? To go pick Malik up, you know what I mean? Take him to some of Jackson football games. You know what I mean? That'd be dope this year. That'd be so cool. God willing, I think my son is supposed to be going over to the same high school that Jada's coaching basketball at. You know what I mean? So that'd be even better. Like I say, man, if God can work all that out. But just being there, man, it means a lot just to be there for his children because he was there for them. Man, D-High loved his kids.
Right.
D-High loved his kids. You know what I'm saying? You know, like I said, no man is perfect. We all got our faults that we got, stuff that we deal with, our own personal demons. You know what I'm saying? But to know him, man, was to love that brother. You know what I'm saying? He pure heart. But that man really truly loved his children, man. I can really say that. That was an excellent father. You know.
So let's touch on something that you said when you talk about your circle. You're talking about him. You're talking about the men that you looked up to and kind of grabbed stuff from, even from the movies and what all those areas where you looked at men and how they either parented, how they raised their how they raised their kids, or just them as men. What is one of the biggest things that you've grabbed from any individual that you hold on tight and make sure you incorporate it within yourself?
Ooh. Man, Pop Campbell, from my church out in Los Angeles, from California Worship Center, my pastor, his dad, Warren Campbell Sr. Man, he's taught me to love unconditionally. Meaning every chance you get. That's why I would tell my kids, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Because we never know the time, nor the minute, nor the hour. When God decides to do what he gonna do, whenever he decides to make his choices, you want for your name to be left back in so much power with your children that no man or woman can come and can hinder anything. has been said about you. You could go out here and you can rob 3 or 4 banks, and your kids be like, "Nah, that ain't my daddy. I know my daddy." You know
Right.
what I'm saying? My dad ain't touched no bank. What you talking about, woman?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unlike you not having that type of umbilical cord, that type of relationship, you know, your kid be like, well, shit, did he? Did my dad really rob the bank? You know what I mean? Because they starting to believe now because they don't really know you. But when they
Right.
know you, nah, they gonna go to bat for you. So always showing that love, man. Like no matter what.
Right.
I've seen Pop leave his job and ride all the way from Gardena all the way back to the valley and in the hills just to change a tire for his daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like not knowing, like, cause she didn't know how to do it. She was gonna call AAA. He was like, baby, stay right there. Leave work to go do stuff like that. Showing that's unconditional love. You know what I mean? Like I'm messing with my bag right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm gonna come do whatever you need me to do. Whatever you need, baby girl. I'm gonna figure out how to get it done for you. You know what I mean? So just to see how a parent can just love you. That so many people use the word love the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather for you to show me than for me to tell me. You know what I mean? I like showing folk true love. You know what I'm saying? Time is precious. That's another key word too. That God's minute, you know what I mean, runs real deep when it comes with your kids. You know what I'm saying? I've only just that 1 minute with 60 seconds in it. You know what I'm saying? Force the pumpkin, can't refuse it, then seek it and choose it. I must suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it. Just a tiny little minute. I must suffer. If you abuse that little minute that God has given you to be there for that child, you're going to suffer if you're losing it, if you're abusing it in the wrong way.
Yo,
That's a given.
you hitting on so many points in this conversation that is one point that you continuously talk about without using the word that's so important as men and as parents and fathers. And everything centers around even you coming back this way or back to the North Carolina side, or you're talking about Pop's leaving job to go change a tire. That's all sacrifice that shows that shows that love that you're talking about. But that's something that it feels like we have to learn too, because it's like that's another level of humility as men. And it's not like we're supposed to be like, we're not glorifying, like, look, we're doing this for you, but it's just something that clicks that, yo, we have to do this because it's important to you. And it's so when you sit back and think about, like you were talking about earlier when you moved out and how that hurt you, but then you start sitting back and like, you know what, it's time for me to sacrifice part of what I'm doing now to come back because I need to pour even more into you. What was the level of thinking to kind of get you to understand that word and how powerful sacrifice is?
Pride. I had to put my pride to the side and really say, like, look, my children need me. Man, Danny, Jackson and Jaya, they need you. It's a difference in your daughter going to the middle school dance and she's seeing how all the other fathers is there with their daughters. And she like, yo, where my daddy at? No. Tighten up, Danny.
Wow.
She needs you. Oh, it's a difference when your son like, man, like, man, I wish I could go to the Friday night football game with my pops. You know what I'm saying? He'll say something slick like, yeah, man, like Steve, him and Chris, they gonna go with their dads to the Friday night football game. I'll probably just stay here and, you know, play the video games or something.
Yeah.
Nigga, that digs. I don't know, nigga. You say that for a reason. You trying to dig at me. You threw a jab.
Yeah.
I caught it.
Yeah.
Now I got to say, okay, how do I get back on my defense and say, you know what? Put your pride to the side, D. Come home, take a step back. You know what I'm saying? Because I had the opportunity, man, to move to so many places, like the Raleighs, the Charlottes, the Atlantas, the Jacksonville, Floridas. People have hit me up about wanting to do work in so many places, but the first thing that always jumps in my mind is like, he's finna walk In 4 years, he's gonna walk across the stage and walk into somebody's college within 4 years. He needs me in this life because all of us on this phone right now know as young men, because we've been in that age before at 15 and 16. That's one of them ages where you really need your dad in your life. As a young male, you need that guidance. You know what I'm saying? You need that love, but you need that guidance. Somebody's going to lead you in the right path. Because if not, what's going to happen is you're going to start picking up shit that you've been seeing on the streets. Oh, my homeboy do this. Well, I didn't know it wasn't cool. I thought you can go over there, bust out a window on somebody's car. You know what I'm saying? Teaching you the structure. Oh, yeah, you want money, right? Let me show you how to get to this bread. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, if you at the school, man, you can flip this at school. Everybody got to eat. Take this, do this. You know what I mean? Just teach them the structure, man. A life.
But that is right. Like to get to that sacrifice, you got to get rid of your pride.
That pride, man.
Like just the moving back. Because I mean, I could relate to that as far as when I moved to Charlotte. I probably should have moved back home to DC a long time ago because I was missing my kids, and I didn't do it a lot. I mean, I was going through, leaving a relationship and all of that, but I didn't move back because I didn't want to seem like I was rushing back. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing all this stuff in Charlotte. I got these tax offices. I got all of this stuff going on, right? But I'm not happy at all because I miss my fucking kids, right? But I don't want to just move back and seem like I failed, right? I don't want to seem like, oh, he couldn't do it. Like, no, it's fuck all of that. Your kids need to be there, and that's what matters most. Forget your pride. Forget what anybody else would think. Forget about all of that. Drop everything and get back to your kid. Literally, Eli, when I got a phone call, my car broke down. I got a phone call, I got on a mega bus to get a job up here. I quit the job that I had, ain't had nowhere to live, moved back home. Like literally, I couldn't do it. I couldn't take it anymore. I moved in with somebody. I didn't do none of that before, and I just had to because I didn't want to because my pride was in the way. But if your kids want you got to do it. You got to do it. I had a situation where I can get better in Charlotte, but you got to drop it all for them kids, man. It's just pride. You don't want to do it because you're gonna be looked at a certain type of way. Like I can understand if you're like, man, if I leave LA, what are people going to think? Like I'm out here in LA doing it up, but what's doing it up to me is being at that Friday night football game.
And I was definitely like that too, AJ.
Fuck what everybody else.
I was like that, man. I ain't gonna lie. What was it, like 20 right before COVID? Cause we've been on for 2 years, so like 2020. I think it was like 2019. Like I was on the verge. Like I was finna drop my half-hour special. It was finna be like with Laugh Out Loud Networks. That deal fell through, so I couldn't do that. Then I had some other projects like coming up, and I'm like, man, fuck it, I'm just gonna stay out here. Then I was like, you know what, bro, you gotta put your pride to the side, bro. Like you too prideful right now. Sometimes you gotta talk to yourself like that. You know what I mean? I had to broke it down to myself, like, man, like. Ain't like you giving up and that, you know what I mean? Just take that step back, man, because them kids.
You can't get that time back. You can't get that time back.
Yeah. You can't get it back,
man.
You can't get it back, boy. You can't get that back. And that's the one thing they kept eating at me. Every time I would get on that flight and tell me I'm finna fly back home, which is flying back to LA, it'd be in the back of my mind like, oh, man, you gotta put your pride, come home, man, because it's always something that'll pop up. It's always something like how you had to run off like the house burning up. You know what I mean? Something always gonna pop up. So it would be like, oh, little man got in trouble at school, or baby girl needed me in town to do this, or something happened over here. And the only time he really got into trouble was enough just to really get my attention. I feel like he gets into trouble to get my attention. You know what I mean? Because he's not a trouble kid. And when I'm around, you don't cut up. You're not on that. But like in class, you may do enough to piss the teacher off, so you send you to in-school suspension. But that's enough to get my attention because they're gonna hit me silently. You know what I mean? Like, yo, Mr. Raglan, whoop the whoop. You already know I'm finna come home. I'm finna turn up on you. Cause that's what type of time we on with me and him. You know what I'm saying? Like we had that bond. Like, look, I ain't with all the extra stuff. You know, we ain't sending you to school for that. You know what I mean? So I'm not one of them parents that's gonna be like strict on you 24/7. You know, I know how to pull it back. You know what I mean? But I also know how to put that foot on your neck. Like, look, because if not, you're gonna be in the news out here, and I can't have that. You know what I'm saying? We can't have it. Cause like growing up, I used to hear so many people, like so many parents, be like, I don't care, your ass gonna end up on the news. Shit, and they be like, well, if you such did this, I don't give a fuck. Get the fuck out of my house. So I ain't never had none of that. I used to hear this all the time though from my friends and then in their relationships with their parents. I'm like, man, that's some deep shit. Like, damn, they mom really cursing them out like that. Then they daddy talking about, oh, you ain't my child. I heard that one of my closest friends, right? And this is another situation that helped me too, becoming a great father. I had my son when I was 22 at Fayetteville State. I had just crossed. We just crossed at the Lily Gym. He came like that September, following year. And I kept telling him, I said, my best friend Chops, he became a man at the age of 14. So many people are like, man, what you mean? I said, I ain't really have to become a man until I was 22 because everything, I was good. You know, I'm making money. You can spend when you want. But I had to realize, I got obligation now. I have a son. I got to prioritize this money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to sow into him. Unlike Chops, who was like at 14, like, dad, don't know who your dad is. Your mama strung out on crack. So now you're raising yourself at the age of 14. See what I'm saying? You had to become a man then. You got to figure out where your next meal going to come from if you're trying to make it to see 15.
Yeah.
So it's like learning, like I had to learn so much even from him, watching him grow. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. Like, okay, like this guy right here, I told myself, I said, man, Chop's going to be one hell of a father. Because everything he's went through as a child, everything he had to endeavor as a teen to get him to the level he had now. My bro, he owned 5 group homes up in D.C., in the D.C. area. He also doing some other stuff, got some other businesses going. But I'm like, yo, I'm proud of you, dog. To see where you come from, you know what I mean? Like, I remember I used to have to open my back door sometimes at my people crib just so you can come in and get you a hot shower and get you some food out the refrigerator we didn't have left over. You know what I'm saying? Like, those type friends, we've been doing this for years. You know what I mean? Way before we even had kids. So it's all about putting that pride to the side, bro. That pride was key for me. I think that's what helped really save me in a sense, was me just realizing like, yo, God, diminish my pride level. You know what I'm saying? Take it away from me. I don't want to be so prideful. You know what I'm saying? How you were saying earlier. What you say earlier? You said something. You was cold-hearted.
Oh yeah, cold-hearted and
selfish. You used to be cold-hearted until now.
Yeah.
And selfish. You know what I mean? I used to be so prideful. You know what I mean? Like, man, once we started cutting out stuff out that fat out of our life, man, look at the blessings started flowing, bro.
Sure. For sure.
For real, for real.
All right. So usually we always ask, what advice would you give to a young or aspiring father? But we're gonna switch it up a little bit for you. We're gonna ask you, what advice would you give to a father that is trying to find their way and they feel as though that they can't find it where they are and they want to make that move to somewhere else? You know what I mean? I know what my advice would be. I want to hear what advice you would give to somebody that's in that situation. Like you said, you've all the opportunity is elsewhere, but my kids are here. And what advice would you give? The
advice that I would give them is sit down and write you out a T-chart, kind of like you writing a paper, how we do in English class. Write out the pros and the cons of every place you want to be. Say, for instance, you wanted to be in Maryland. Why should you be in Maryland on one side, and why shouldn't you be in Maryland on the other side? Okay, say, for instance, you wanted to move up out of North Carolina, you want to get down to Texas. Why should you move to Texas? So I was, in a sense, I would say, okay, prioritize this thing the right way. Does it make sense for you, or does it make sense for you and for your child? See what I'm saying? Like, because when you have So many people call it extra baggage. I don't really call it extra baggage. You know what I mean? I call that a blessing. Like, yo, I got a blessing with me, and I'm finna figure out what me and my blessing got going on. You know what I'm saying? Because God gave me this blessing, and I'm finna make sure that I'm not finna mess nothing up with this blessing. I'm finna protect this blessing. I ain't finna let nothing happen to this blessing, meaning my child. You know what I mean? So for me, in a sense, the advice I would give to him is pray about this thing. Seek God first. Pray about it. Write down your vision. Write down your goal. Write down whatever it is, the desires of your heart. Now, pray on that thing. Get up in the morning. Work towards that goal. And if it doesn't work this way, don't get discouraged, because guess what? You've already wrote down on your paper your backup plan. Like when I first moved to LA, I didn't just say, oh, I'm finna go to LA and that's it. I had like LA on there. Okay, if LA don't work for the first like week, can I come back home to like Charlotte area? Can I come to go to Atlanta? Would I want to go to Raleigh, Durham? What seems feasible? Like, okay, if I'm into heavy produce and crops and stuff, I wouldn't move to like Denver, Colorado. I would move somewhere like North Carolina, which is a crop state. But that's what we built on. You see what I'm saying? Like whatever my background is in. Like if I was a machine operator, I would move somewhere like Idaho and Chicago, where a lot of those companies have these machine companies. You know what I'm saying? Like place yourself where you know there's a need for what it you have that God has given. Like I told somebody last night, we all came into this world. Two things we knew was going to happen. We knew that the person that brought us into this world was going to give us a name, meaning our parents. The first thing that we knew when we came into this world, that we was already given one thing from God, and that's a gift. Every man and every woman was given a gift, a blessing from God. No matter if he was handicapped, no matter if he was a midget, you know what I'm saying? Like I know some midgets right now that's making
You
dictates,
forgot
you
the
know what I'm
PC
saying?
card, huh?
You feel me? They gave you the PT Cruiser just for the little people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but that would be my one thing right there, though,
Oh
AJ. That would
man.
be my one thing that I tell people. You know what I'm saying? Write your vision so that God can help you make it plain. Write your vision. Yeah, so that
Hold on,
God can
AJ.
help
So
make it plain.
you're not gonna get away.
Because
What's your advice? You had it, so let me hear it.
let's do it.
Do it. Like if it's in your heart to really try something and really, really try it, do it. But what I will say is two things. One, never let your kids go from the forefront of your mind. Meaning, I don't care how successful you are. I don't give a fuck how much money you have. If you ain't doing it to make it better for your children or make life better for your kids, if you're not making all this money to make it easier for you to fly back to your children, where you can get to your children at the drop of a dime, then it ain't worth it, right? So one, keep your children at the forefront of your mind the entire time. Two, when the signs are there to go, fucking go. And do not stick around because you feel like I can turn this around, I can make this happen, because that could, I mean, maybe you can, right? Maybe you can, but that time you can't get back. I was only gone for like 18 months, right? By the time I came back and my son was really started walking from that little bit of time I was gone, the first time he spent the night with me and stayed with me and he had to use the bathroom and I seen him sit down to piss, I felt horrible as a father. Like I said, I don't care if you got to be on your goddamn tippy toes. I don't care if you piss all over my floor. It's fine. We'll get it together. You'll work it out. But just little stuff like that, like you can't get that back. You can't. Like and it hurts because you'll see it and it'll hurt you. It ain't worth it. It's not worth it at all.
Just made sure you had an
That's what I
answer.
would
You
say.
said you had one. I was just curious. That's a pretty good answer.
Nah, I know because I've had other people. I've had other people ask me what should they do? Like do it.
Yeah,
But
Nope.
just don't get
gotcha.
blindsided at all. Cause ain't no glitz and glamour or gold worth your kids. None of it.
Well, it's something when y'all talk about that. It's something that I always go back to when I talk to older people, and they always will reiterate that it doesn't matter how much money you have, your kids can care less as long as you're there in the first place. Like, I don't care how much you can provide, but your provisions are your presence. And I'm like, yo, sometimes I forget that. We're gonna get you out of here on this last question. And you spoke about so many different aspects of fatherhood, but I want to take it a little deeper. When your time is up and you pass, what do you want your legacy as a father to be?
I want my legacy to be that our father loved us unconditional. He always was there. Man, just the love part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they knew that they was truly, truly loved with all of them, if they knew that I truly, truly loved them with all of my heart, no matter what we did, how we traveled, what I purchased, what I bought, just to know that another person loved me almost more is what I love myself. That'd be, because as you as an individual, you Elijah, you always say, can't nobody love me like I can love me. So for my kids to say like, yo, my dad loved me damn near more than what I almost love myself, man, that's a legacy that I will definitely want to leave back, so that they know wholeheartedly that I was loved and that my father truly, truly loved me. He did everything in his power for me. That's the legacy that I want to leave back for my kids. Nothing monetary, nothing. No, you know what I mean? Oh, I left you 7 acres of land. That's cool. I left you 12 acres, or I left you a business. No. He loved me with everything in him. That's what I want to be left behind, is for my kids to know that my dad truly, truly loved
That's
me.
the stuff that you can't buy. That's stuff you can't pay for. It's not a measure of that. It's just a feeling. And what I will say from this conversation, I mean, you talked about so many things and taught me a new word. I had never heard of stability. That is a word that I've never heard. I don't think I know how to spell. I thought
nobody
no, that
had.
joker. I
heard
think
of
Afion might have
stability and
made up a word
stabilization.
that he split apart stability and added some letters in between and gave you a hyphen and told you that was a real word. But I think that word is stability. But
That ain't that. We're not gonna blame that on that failed state education either.
both of y'all. Both of y'all. But I'm gonna
No,
let
we
you
ain't gonna let that
slide
go
on
failed
that
state.
because the gems that you drop. Hey, nah, I'm gonna tell you. Go ahead and tell you now. The name of this episode is "Sacrifice and Stability."
No, man, we appreciate it, man. It was a great conversation. And this is good.
It really was,
and
man.
You know what? You know what's gonna be really good? When you show this to your kids. Especially because think about these live forever. So you ain't even got to show it to them now. You show it to them before you talk about you got 4 years before they go to college. You show this to them right before they go to school. Let them know.
Man.
Hey, man,
That'd
anytime.
Be dope, man.
We out.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all for having me on here too,
No
bro.
problem, man.
Thanks for watching another episode of the Just My Baby Daddy podcast. For past episodes, go out to our YouTube channel at Just My Baby Daddy podcast. Subscribe, like, share. Thank you.